6 we read, verse 1 says, God is our refuge and strength and ever-present help in trouble. The other one is from Hebrews chapter 6 verse 18. We have run for our lives to God. God is our refuge. In times like this in South Africa, specifically KZN, that's where we find ourselves, that we are faced with challenges, trouble, as far as crime is concerned. People are killed like flies. Like it changed now, it's very active in Eastern Cape. It started at KZN. Now, we are the citizens of this country, and the only thing that we have is to run to God, who is our refuge. From Him we get wisdom, that we can come together and unite to fight the scourge. From Him we get the strength to move on. I believe that the criminals are outnumbered. They are not a big number in this country. But the citizens are the ones who need to mobilize ourselves and stand against what is happening in our country. Minister, if Netherlands closed down
Mchunu, who is a commissioner Waga Deputy Metro, as well as a provincial commissioner from correctional services, Commissioner Umele. We also like to acknowledge the presence of Umkhuzu Wamapoyisa, Isekela Umkhuzu Wamapoyisa, kwisifundazwe, Major General Makoba, sinayo nenhloko yama-Hawks, Mr. Senona. Siphinde si-acknowledge the presence of Umkhuzu Wamapoyisa kwisifundazwe kwesitheka, Major General Keswa. Sinalo ibamba mqondisi jikelele kwihhovisi likaNdunankulu, uMr. Ubaba Ungubane, okuyena u-acting DG. Sinazo izinhloko zomnyango, the heads of departments that are with us today. We have the head of department, Mr. Mbene, who is the head of department for the Department of Transport in the province. We have the head of department, Mr. Kondwana, who is the head of department for Department of Economic Development and Environmental Affairs. We also have the head of department, Ms. Vilagazi, who is the head of department for Department of Social Development. Colleagues, we also have the colleagues amongst us from the national departments. Allow me not to go through all of you name by name, but to acknowledge your presence here. We also wish to acknowledge the presence of the colleagues from the different departments from the province, including the Department of Community Safety and Liaison, and also the Office of the Premier. We also have the members of the law enforcement agencies. I'm also not going to go through all of them one by one in the interest of time, and also the distinguished guests that we have with us, and also to acknowledge the members of the community safety structures that we have with us today. We do have the chairperson of the CPF board, which is Ubaba Umchali. Is accompanied by the other members who are the members of the executive from the CPF board. We also do have the members of the youth desk who are with us today. Program director, those are the participants or the delegates that we are having today. I thank you.
Thank you very much, HOD, and thanks for keeping my time. I'm going to move on and request the DG from the Secretary of Police, that is Boy, to come and give us an outline of the cooperation. To assist my presenters, I have put the watch there.
I'll have a new record, program director. Program director, General Musigidi, Lieutenant General Musigidi, Minister of Police, Mr. Mchunu, Premier of the Province, Babantulu Supisi, Deputy Ministers, Matale, Mawishielo, General Masimula, the National Commissioner of Police, the Deputy Mayor of Etequini Municipality, Umkhuzu Wamapoyisa from Etequini Municipality, heads of departments present here, the DG in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, the Chief Executive Officer of SIRA, Chief of Staff, Babu Panazi, the PC, together with his team. Colleagues, let me stand on an established protocol with your permission, Minister. Minister, this is the program that the Minister has started since he took over as the Minister of Police, to ensure that we put together a cooperation agreement that allows all spheres of government to work together in terms of the Constitution, because we know that the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa found its basis on an integration of government work in all spheres to deal with the silo mentality of one government from another sphere and so forth and so forth. So therefore this cooperation agreement seeks to bring together all of us to work together in line with the Constitution. This process has started in the Western Cape based on an analysis or based on the crime stats. There was a realization that in the 4 provinces, which is Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal, Western Cape as well as Eastern Cape, we are the biggest contributors of crime in the country, in particular the metros and so forth. So we needed to have an approach that deals with that particular sketch. But the agreement is not really limited to the cities. It has to be a province-wide agreement, because we know if you succeed in the cities, then crime will start moving to other areas of the respective provinces. So therefore, as you succeed in those centers, you must also be able to escalate or to ensure that we spread the effectiveness of the agreement to the other parts of the province as well, and so forth. The agreement seeks to ensure that we share resources as government, starting from infrastructure resources, ICT resources, and so forth. We will know, for instance, that municipalities may have infrastructure, be it buildings, be it technology that they are using. We are saying, let us integrate these resources. But let's have all law enforcement officers throughout spheres of government, national, province, as well as local, to be working together in terms of operation, design our operational modules or operational spread to be in such a way that is integrated, so that and under one command, so that when General Mkwanazi says law enforcement in terms of planning, in terms of information, because the planning has to be based on the data that we all share, that we are supposed to move to this direction. There is no one that moves in a different direction, otherwise we will not have a greater impact. So therefore, the agreement seeks to ensure that there is that integration, there is that working together, there is that sharing of resources and so forth. Even in terms of technology, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of human resources. But it also tries to bring together the active community participation into the fold of policing, because we know that if the community is not actively involved in the fight against crime, we will not be able to defeat crime. So therefore it brings together all formalized community structures that plays a role in effective policing to be able to play that role and so forth. Having said that, Minister, the agreement takes into effect what Cabinet has approved in 2022, which we call an integrated crime and violence prevention strategy, which has got 6 pillars, and those pillars have its own role, and each pillar has its own meaning and has its own contribution in the fight against crime. So the agreement brings together all government departments, not only the spheres of government, but they bring together all government departments to be involved. And maybe, Minister, we have social development here, and Minister is busy talking to social development. We have economic development. They have their own contribution in terms of the integrated crime and prevention strategy. So the agreement fosters that, because the ICPS talks about the whole of society and the whole of government involvement in the fight against crime. As a result, we think that this strategy should be driven at a center in provinces from the Premier's offices to ensure that departments are coordinated fully in the fight against crime, because if there is crime, there is no development. Therefore, the economy will not be able to respond in terms of creating jobs and so forth. The agreement will have financial implications, but we are saying we are not taking away the various legislations that are applicable in managing resources of each and every sphere. However, where there must be a joint resource allocation, we must be able to do so. So the agreement creates various streams, and amongst the other streams that are there, it's a financial stream, the legal stream, as well as the operational streams. There are about 8 streams, which I will not talk about here, which actually look at the various issues and so forth. This agreement will be valid for 5 years, which means it's valid for the duration of the 7th administration and so forth. But however, it will then compel us on annual basis to ensure that in our annual performance plans, as we plan, we include the levers or the pillars of this agreement into the performance plan for purposes of us being measured in terms of how are we implementing the agreement. Having said that, Minister, I think this is the purpose. Thank you, Minister Premier and Program Director.
Thank you very much, DG. It is all in the name of integration and the betterment of the people of eThekwini. Now we know what this cooperation is all about, what it's intended to do to bring the livelihoods of the people of eThekwini and the entire South Africa into a common understanding in the fight against crime. Provincial Commission, how are we going to realize the implementation of this plan? Can you come to the podium and, in short, thank you today.
Thank you so much, Program Director. Greetings to the Minister, the Premier, the DMs, Deputy Mayor, and all the colleagues that are here. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be very short. Answering the question, what General Musigidi is asking me is that we're going to join our forces with the Metro and all other law enforcement and chase criminals to the ocean. That's basically what we're going to be doing in short. But I wanted to, Minister, with your permission, just give a short briefing about the district where we are at, the district of eThekwini. I did make some few copies there, maybe you can follow the presentation. So I'm not going to waste much time, Minister, with regard to the first slide in terms of the introduction, as it's self-explanatory that we are here today being convened by the Ministry of Police between the SAPS in the province, the provincial government, as well as the eThekwini Metro, in order to try and work together in fighting crime. So eThekwini, as you see on the following slide, slide 4, the profile of the district of eThekwini. It is the biggest district that we have in this province of KwaZulu-Natal. And as you can see, the population size of 3.7 million people that we have in this province, with a area size of 2,600 square meters. So what you find in this district is everything you can think of, from the schools, primary schools, high schools, universities or tertiary institutions that we have. Quite a number of them are accommodating quite a number of students that are studying there. But having said that, we also have other businesses that are taking place in this province that to some degree contribute into our crime picture. As you can see in terms of the picture there, the number of legal athletes that we have in this province registered that we know is 2,628 of them. It's quite a lot. Almost every second street you're going to find illegal outlets. That seems to be the business in the main that we have in this province, which is contributing a lot in terms of crime as we record it in this province. The district has got a total of 42 police stations. Where we are at currently, Enanda is one of the biggest contributors in terms of crime. Both contract crime as well as property crime, they are heavily involved in this district of eThekwini. The next slide, just to indicate in terms of resources that we have in the district. As you can see, the number of vehicles that is at our disposal in this district. I must just say that quite a lot of them end up at the garage, and we also have some of them that outsource through the contract that we have in the police, RT46 contract that are serviced outside. So we're trying to get improvement on that. So I hope with this agreement, perhaps we might also be assisted with the speedy servicing of vehicles. Maybe the Metro will also come and help us in order to make sure that we've got a lot of resources that are available on our disposal to fight crime. Total personnel that we have in this district from the SAPS point of view is 6,480 members that we have. But that is not only police officers, it includes 1,000 support staff. The police is about 5,000, and 1,000 of them it's a support staff that are working with us. That will include admin clerks and as well as many other personnel that are helping us in security guards that are guarding our facilities and so forth. I'm not going to bore you in terms of the breakdown of these resources per station, but if maybe move to the next slide, there's quite a number of them are broken down in terms of the slides here, so you can see in each police station the one that you might have interest in. Maybe you can tell me to stop so we can discuss further on that. But the Inanda, as I said, Minister Premier, that Inanda contributes a lot in terms of our crime, but they have a total of 326 personnel, police officers who are helping them fight crime. The sheer size of the police station is just too much for this police station to handle that. So we are trying by all means to review our fixed establishment so that we can increase the numbers of personnel that are deployed in this police station, but it still remains a challenge. As you can see, when you look at the crime that has been recorded for the first quarter as it was released, the crime stats between April and June, you'll notice that eThekwini is contributing a lot in terms of numbers. As you can see on that district crime overview presentation, the second slide, where we are summarizing a total community reported crime. In this district, we have recorded 27,000 cases in that first quarter of the year. And that was a very much increase as compared to the previous period where we recorded 25,900. So there's been more cases that has been registered in this eThekwini district. And you will understand, Minister Premier, that majority of these crimes are conduct crime in as far as assaults are concerned. We are experiencing a lot of them when people are under influence of liquor, that they tend to fight with each other easily. So there's quite a lot of cases that has been registered in that regard. We've been trying to our level best to reduce in terms of murders. As you can see, we have recorded a minus 12% on the reduction in the first quarter. It's simple because quite a number of those that have been involved in committing this type of crimes of murder, especially in this policing precinct where we are at, quite a lot of the criminals here has been arrested. They are beyond bars. Some of them unfortunately passed on during the actions of the police where the shootout happened. But we are confident that we're going to still see some improvement on this, especially now that we're going to be working together with our counterparts on the Metro very close. But I might just say, to say, Minister, that we are already having a good working relationship with the Metro in this district. I think this agreement we're having today is just going to augment it. And I don't know whether my colleagues from Metro has been able to fund the additional resources that have been promised by the mayor, the council, that they're going to increase the workforce of the Metro Police in order so that we can have more personnel. Because as it's right, we are losing quite a lot of members through retirement and so forth in the police. But we hope that with the additional new recruits, it's going to help us. Minister, without wasting much time, at your own time, I'm sure you can be able to read the crime analysis. I'm going to move straight into slide 18, where we are talking about the current policing approach for eThekwini district. That in terms of the structure that we have, eThekwini as a district, we only have one person in charge from the police side, and that is Major General Keswa. Major General Keswa having to work very close with the Commissioner of Police, Commissioner Mchunu here. They are responsible for this entire over 2,000 square meter size of the district. And we have, as I said, 42 police stations from the SAPS side, and we're going to also, some of the places we are sharing with the Metro Police in terms of assisting the communities, those that need help from us. We have the structures, the Mfundis was here earlier opening the session because it's part of the structures that we're having as the police in terms of CPF, in terms of religious leadership, in terms of traditional leaders who work very close with us in order to help us to fight crime in this province. So we have the structures in place of CPF and it's functioning. I saw the chair is also available here today together with some of the board members. And that structure is applicable all the way down to district level, to the station level, and it's functioning the way it's supposed to. We have the structures that are coordinating operations in terms of what we do on the ground as we are busy with this festive season and we're busy with the election before. Through the Prof joins, majority of the departments, they take part. And together we come up with plans of action that we execute in order to make sure that there's a safer district. The question is therefore coming out of this that we should be asking, what is this new approach going to bring us? So we believe that as it's the structure of the police that has given us sub-district, we're supposed to be having 3 sub-districts in this eThekwini Metro. We haven't yet implemented that, Minister, but with this approach, we're going to then align ourselves as the South African Police Service together with the Metro in terms of the structure, because the way we are structured and the way Metro is structured is not aligned. So we're going to align ourselves so that we can be able to have a proper profile of each sub-district, and that is going to help us to decide on how we deploy our resources in order to police that. I must just say maybe what is not part of this, maybe the Metro will indicate whether the camera network in terms of IT infrastructure that we use, whether those camera networks have been transferred over to the Metro Police, because that has been the headache for us, that we are not able to access these camera networks that we are having, CCTV cameras, simply because they've been always under disaster management. And disaster management, they don't deal with operations. So it's been that frustration, but I hope the executive have taken the decision in the Metro to move them over to the Metro Police. So we do have coordinating centers. There's a fusion center, as I said, that exists here in the city. As I can maybe also add on this, Minister, is that we are busy rolling out, through the support of the National Commission and TMS, rolling out a CCTV camera system in this area where we at Inanda, Nduzuma, and Guamashu. All 3 policing precincts, because they are next to each other. There's a camera network that has been implemented with an expense of over 300 million rand. That is going to be the police-operated camera system. So that's going to help us to be able to monitor the entire policing precinct on these 3 police stations. And of course, we're going to do that together with our colleagues going forward as we monitor on other areas of this district. As I say on that slide 20, it's just a picture of how the sub-district looks like. So the next slide, it just indicates, as I said, the sub-district, how they look like. As you can see, the number of police stations that are there per district, per sub-district. Quite a lot of them, they are sitting at eThekwini South, with a total of 16 police stations that are going to be grouped under that, whereas the others is 13. So, but we hope with the implementation of this, it's going to help us win the war against crime. So I'm not so sure, Program Director, because I'm done with this, whether you want me to present something else. Fine. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Provincial Commissioner. I think that one element that is left is what we will unpack in terms of the operations now that we know they are underway in terms of Operation Festive Season. Thank you very much, General. If we look at our program, you'll see that this is the coordination of the 2 activities because one answers to the other. Now we know, and I hope that media will be very short because we know what is this operation. now, and who are the parties to this, and the when, perhaps I can say now. All that I'm going to request now is that the copies that we have of the plan, if I can have them back with due respect, so that I am not compromised and I get the blame afterwards that other people have planned because they have my plan. So bring my plan back, and the Provincial Commissioner will take care of it. But other nitty-gritties will be discussed during the operational meetings. Allow me at this time to call upon Major General Dr. Van Rooyen, who is our legal service expert on this particular, or designated member on this particular cooperation agreement, to take us through. Dr. Van Rooyen. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, General. Good morning, Minister. Good morning, Premier. Good morning, Deputy Ministers and all other distinguished guests. We are now moving to the phase of a physical signing of the cooperation agreement. So may I please call on the National Commissioner, General Masimola, to join us in the front, as well as Mr. Sibui, the Secretary of the Civilian Secretariat, the Head of Department of Community Safety and Liaison, Mrs. Kaba Mbeta, Mr. Mbele, who is the Head of Department of Transport, and also a representative of the City of eThekwini, please.
What we are witnessing now is the sealing of the deal. It's a sealing of the deal. We are having two issues, which is crime and our response. So in this marriage of crime, we are now witnessing the signing of the cooperation. We are now seeing the signing of the cooperation just to seal this marriage, and we will have the marriage certificate that will come out of it. The results afterwards is the birth that is going to be given to us, which is the improved, coordinated, operational approach for the purposes of policing. So in these 3 minutes, we are witnessing the leadership of different environments and departments putting the pen on the paper, making the commitment, and we can come tomorrow and hold them accountable on what they have signed. And of course, we are going to do that for them, those that are on the ground. Let us do so, hoping that this district is going to be a better place to live after this cooperation. Dr. Van Rooyen, thank you very much for ensuring that is done. It's facilitated to answer the 5 whiskeys and the hotel. Going once, going twice. Thank you, General Fani Masemula. Thank you, DG Sibui, Ms. Baba Maketa, Mr. S. Mbele, and Mr. M. Mbele. I'm not sure if it is sitting in the Mbele family, but it doesn't matter. What matters is what comes out of this document. So don't be surprised when I leave here and I am Mbele as well. Yeah, I see Mbele. No, Mbele is good. a mayor. The Mbeles are making sure that the cooperation happens. Thank you very much, Dr. Maga, and the leadership. You see, I've also made sure that there are very good pens that are not going to fail them. Let me, at this moment, as we conclude our session, call upon the Premier of the KwaZulu-Natal Province, Mr. 18 Julie, member of the Provincial Legislature, to come and give the remarks after the witnessing of the signing of the cooperation. Premier, over to you, sir. And I'm removing my watch, Premier.
There's a question from the previous system.
They are requesting that you can present from the Premier.
Oh, from the
please.
Okay.
I will bring it.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
No, thank you very much, General Sikini, who's the program director. I'm not sure about your wash and time in my province. Well, I must extend my humble greetings to the Honorable Minister, Honorable Mchunu, and I'm happy that not only Ntuli Mbele is dominating. I also heard that there is another Mchunu in eThekwini, so at least we are both covered. The Honorable Deputy Minister Matale and Mayor Boishelo, the Honorable Deputy Mayor of eThekwini, and the General National Commissioner, and the Provincial Commissioner, the head of departments, and all important guests present here today. I must really thank the Minister for the gesture to have this agreement being signed today, which I think is going to strengthen our fight as the province of KwaZulu-Natal against crime. Today marks an important step in our collective commitment to the safety and security of our communities. Particularly as we approach the festive season, it is a time when our province opens its doors to visitors from across the country and the world. And we must ensure that KwaZulu-Natal remains a safe and secure destination. This signing ceremony formalizes a critical partnership between various law enforcement agencies, local government and community stakeholders under the Integrated Crime and Violence Prevention Strategy. By signing this cooperation agreement, we affirm our united front in tackling crime and violence, ensuring that no corner of our province is left vulnerable to criminal elements. In fact, Honorable Minister, I agree, I concur with those who were on the podium to say this is not only a wish for eThekwini, but for the whole of KwaZulu-Natal, that we all stand up together and do something to assist the police to fight a crime. The strategy we are adopting today emphasizes intelligence-driven, proactive measures that address both the immediate and long-term safety concerns in our province. From increased patrols to community engagement, this approach will see law enforcement working hand in hand with our communities to restore peace and build trust. I would like to thank all our partners present today, our national and provincial police leadership, government officials and community representatives for your unwavering commitment to this cause. Together we are setting the tone for a safer KwaZulu-Natal, not only for the festive season, but for the future. Let us move forward with purpose, knowing that by working together, we can ensure a safer and a more secure province for all. Thank you very much. I think your watch is in favor.
Thank you very much, Premier. For some reason, the battery decided to die. So, Minister, your concluding remarks. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, General Moskini, Lieutenant General, Program Director today. Then the great Honorable Premier of KZN Government, KZN Province, Provincial Government, Mpemba, and your team, the whole team. Let me also greet the Deputy Ministers who are here, Luciano and Tala, National Commissioner to my left, and Deputy Mayor of Etegwini to my left, DG Sbui in the Civilian Secretariat, and I see there's a Provincial Commissioner for Correctional Services sitting next to our Provincial Commissioner, General Mchunu, who made a presentation earlier on, clarifying a number of matters, giving us a good picture of what's happening in the province, but particularly here in this district, in the metro of Etegwini. Now, I don't know what to say after the comments by Mpemba. All I need to say is that you should feel comfortable between you and myself as head of police, Metro Police in Etegwini. Thanks very much for your presence and all your team. Let me start by saying that crime in South Africa is a reality. It's not something that we're imagining or thinking that it exists somewhere. It's a reality that is confronting us on a day-to-day basis. But crime by nature is destructive. That's where murders come from. That's where rape comes from. And that is where the onslaught on human beings in various forms, whether it is kidnapping, whether it is extortion, or any other form of crime, it flows from just criminality that we're seeing in the country, which I'm saying is a reality. Now, faced with that reality, not just as government, but as people, ordinary people, and in the case of Etegwini, we're talking about more than 3 million people who, on a daily basis, have to think twice before stepping out. But even when they step into their houses, they also think where criminals are going to come from. To have strong windows, strong doors, and all of that each time you sleep. And when the children go out, you have to think about that. It is a reality. That's the point I want to drive home, that we are dealing with the reality. At some point I worked in water and I always said water is life. But it was something to say water is life. In the police sector or safety sector in the country as a whole, we are dealing with life itself. Not water is life, but life itself. Because each time a criminal touches law-abiding citizens, it is with the purpose of disabling a person with an aim of freely committing crime. And that's what they have in mind. They want to disable, they want to destroy, just to reach out and feed their greed in whatever nature. So faced with this particular reality, we have to respond, strategize properly and respond before we complain about things like budget, number of boots on the ground and all of that. And that's where it came from, Premier, that your province, that is KZN. I come from KZN and therefore it's also our province. Is one of the 4 provinces that have a character that is largely dominated by criminality. In other words, when you think about KZN, before you think about economic growth, tourism, all those things that support life going forward, you have to sit up straight and think about crime. One of the 4 that are leading in the country in terms of crime. Now, the other one is Gauteng, the other one is Eastern Cape, and the other one is Western Cape. So, Pastor, when you pray, you were quite right. There is a corridor of criminality between Eastern Cape and KwaZulu-Natal. Some of the criminals are here, but they go there, commit crime, come back, hide, or vice versa. Now, when you get to KZN, it is a fact that the concentration of crime is in eThekwini. Hence, the 42% of crime in the whole of KZN is occurring here in the metro, 42%. Now, it makes you think further. What do you do to meaningfully react, to meaningfully deal with crime? Because the people are calling there, even ones that are dying, they call, they die calling. Where are the authorities? Where is government? Where is the state? Where are the police? Until they draw the last breath out of their lives, young and old, and so on. The other destruction that this crime is causing is in relation to economy. There are crimes that are performed directly to destroy the economy by way of mafias, this thing called mafias, construction mafias, extortion, and direct robberies to business properties. But the scare itself from criminals and their activities in the province chases away people who are already away. Investors who are overseas, investors internally here, they just get to smell crime and see it, and they turn their backs from the province, leaving a field of unemployment, increasing unemployment, hopelessness in terms of prospects for people to get jobs, and general fear. So there's no company that will allow itself to get established here and get their managers only to be faced with criminality every day. It's a risk. It's already happening in some parts of this province, where people think and talk about going away, leaving this province. Now, We then, in part, came up with this plan to say there are resources in KZN in different forms. Let us sit down and plan against these criminals. And I like what you said, Pastor, when you mentioned that criminals are fewer than the rest of the people who are law-abiding. What you are saying is true. It's not just a prayer. It's true. There are few criminals. That's why they operate when you are asleep, because they know you are defenseless. You are not aware, you are not alert. They want to harm you from behind. Now, we can even mention that there were fewer police, just like Provincial Commissioner was highlighting. Here is the population, here is the number of police officers from SAPS, from whom we are expecting miracles, guarding us when we are in bedrooms, when we are in houses, when we are in our villages, in townships, in suburbs. We expect them to be there, and it's impossible for them in numbers. But we don't emphasize this to the public because it will show a different picture and create a different mood altogether. What is Minister saying? What are the authorities saying? They say they are too few, or they don't have capacity. It means that we're left alone to die. We couldn't say that, and we can't say that, and we'll never say that. What we had to do was to look back into ourselves and say, what else can we do to increase our capacity despite the reduced numbers that we have? What else do we do? It's always possible that human beings, when they think and think differently and think hard, they are able to overcome their difficulties and their surroundings, despite any other challenge that is there. And this is what we intend to do. Now, the first resource that we believed we have is the sheer number of people in KwaZulu-Natal, second largest population, is concentrated here. People on their own, law-abiding, good-wishing, and cooperating with government and everything that is progressive. Those people are the asset. The people of KwaZulu-Natal are regarded by us as an asset, first asset. Just the people, ordinary people. Because we know they are on our side. They don't want criminals. They want them flushed out in whatever manner. People now don't care how you flush criminals out, as long as they are flushed out. Whether you bury them in the toilet, or whether you lock them in the church, or whatever, as long as they are said to be on the receiving end from our fight against them, people will be happy all the time. And for that reason, they want us to be stronger. They want us to be much more resolved. They want us to be much more confrontational to criminals. And ultimately, they want us to defeat them. They await news of criminals retreating rather than going forward. And therefore, we are calling on people from KZN to work and cooperate with people who are in the law enforcement area to work with them and so on. I'm delighted by what I saw recently happening in Orlando after a criminal from Mozambique raped and killed a 6-year-old and dumped the body wherever and then ran away. That's the face of criminality. That is how animal these criminals are now. A 6-year-old. In the first place, there is no woman who is old enough or young enough to be raped. So the question of 6-year-old, insofar as rape is concerned, is just a number, but the actual issue is rape. That she was 6 only signifies how animal or animalish these other people we call men are at this stage. 6 years. You call her to, while playing with other children, you say, come here. You've already made your mind up. She's going to come, follow me because she's a child, and then I'll somewhere overpower her and rape her, surprise her altogether. Now he did so, but what did people do? They mobilized. At the same time, the child disappeared, and they started hunting all the informal settlements around there, together with police, and police joined them, and they were leading them in the hunt for that particular criminal. And very soon we got the face. Very soon we got things about him, that he's a Mozambican. I don't know whether he is legally here or not at this stage, but I got the face myself. We're all working, posting and doing all sorts of things. Leading, there was a young woman who was leading there who was communicating with me quite frequently on this matter. Then, ultimately, yesterday, police were able to apprehend this thug in somewhere in a section in Soweto. And he was apprehended and is in the police hands at the moment, which we appreciate very much. That's the power of communities. Just keeping police, all of us, on our toes, demanding that this person must be arrested. Police moving without sleeping, closing the border gates, posting this person to the authorities in Mozambique, that if you see this person, he is wanted. And everybody getting moved to say, we want this criminal. And I was insisting to General Mchunu in Gauteng, I want this person. And they were all working. And I even said, as soon as I'm free here, I will join the people who are marching. I won't go to the police station. I will go to where possibly he could be hiding. So they got him and arrested him. It didn't matter whether they arrested him alive or they pointed to him dead. It didn't matter as long as it was him. Fortunately for him, not for us, he was found alive and apprehended. And so he's going to be taken through processes of the law. I wish I would get a day when he's in court. There's one particular case I would want to attend. Just to go and see live, not on TV or social media, this animal, and to join those who will be saying no bail to this animal. And I'm sure we'll align our diaries and go there on behalf of the mother, who is the mother of this child, just to say we are sympathetic and we are with her. So that's the power of communities, and it is important that communities understand this thing. Police, I was on the Zangoma, they need to be assisted. We need to work with communities. But the second category, still in society, we want formations. In other words, communities to organize themselves, not to work with individuals, not to work as individuals. So we have you, Baba, with other religious leaders coming from this area, to organize yourselves. You always invite us to go to church, and you say just 2 hours in a week, come and worship. We are inviting you today. Just a few minutes, you look for criminals, and then you hear what communities are saying, and you report to police in your churches. I'm telling you, just criminals knowing that they have no place, you don't want them, and you express that in your churches, it's enough to make them shiver, because they will know each of you don't want them. That will be quite powerful. But there are CPFs, and CPFs must work on the ground. And the provincial government, via their relevant department, need to up the socks, organize CPFs and other formations, because we need them organized, so that they too make a call and they tighten the space. Now, we also need business to join us, because they are also affected as corporate citizens. So all of that is society in the province within reach by provincial government. And that's why provincial government is here, to mobilize all these stakeholders. When we go out of the city, we will be talking, how do we go to operationalize a similar thing with Amakosi, because I don't think at this stage in Pemba, Amakosi are doing enough. I think they are doing little more than just complaining that there is crime. I've never heard any Nkosi, I've never heard that there is any Nkosi who is issuing a call for people to stand alert because there are criminals here, and start organizing them to actually look for criminals and send direct messages to criminals, and urging society to say, criminals are amongst yourselves, name them, because all you do, all they need to do is to name criminals. Amakosi know who criminals are, their indunas know, and individual members of society know. I am not aware of them mobilizing and standing on a line as Amakosi, and very strong on police. I'm not suggesting they don't do anything, but I'm saying I'm yet to hear vibrant action on the side of Amakosi, and we will be approaching them together with yourself, Pemba, to say, no, it's no longer time just to talk about this. Let us confront and so on and so on. We'll do so. But what are we doing here today? We approached provincial government of KwaZulu-Natal through the Premier and directly. We approached the Metro of eThekwini directly and said, we are government. People call us government. They don't say local, provincial, wara when it comes to crime. They just want government to extend a hand of protection to them and their children, wives, husbands, and so on, all of that, because these criminals are indiscriminate. So we then spoke. We presented a document suggesting how we could stand together, align ourselves and our activities. Now, what is the essence of coming together? Because we are not in a public relations exercise. We are on the road in terms of each step towards firming up and lining up against criminals. And I do want to say against criminals and criminality, because we're fighting both criminality and criminals. If they can't separate themselves from crime, we will deal with both of them, both criminality in their heads and crime. Now, we talk about boots in the first place. We have a certain number of police officers in terms of the number and those who support them in the eThekwini Metro, but it's not enough to defeat crime. It stands at 42%. Now, the Metro has Metro Police, and they are not enough for them to be able to prevent criminality in this city. So let's collaborate, because if we collaborate, we are more powerful than when we are individuals. When we are Metro Police looking this side, SAPS looking this side. It's a practical, logical thing. We stand together. Police are going to organize themselves, as Provincial Commissioner was outlining in detail, to say, let's divide the eThekwini into sub-districts in whatever way that is practical to them. And then what do? line up resources, human resource, now lined up such that they stand together every area of eThekwini, looking for and fighting criminals, investigating those who have already done so, collaborating in terms of looking at dockets and so on, and looking for these criminals. Now, once we get used to that and so on at the same time, we're then getting to another area, as we always say. This is the area of technology, technological infrastructure, or technology infrastructure. What is this infrastructure that we're in a hurry to get to collaborate on? Now, Provincial Commissioner talks about cameras, and he says you have enough cameras, but your cameras are servicing a department in eThekwini. I'm not criticizing you, I'm just stating facts. That does not require cameras on a daily basis. While we face this disaster, it's not on a daily basis. It is police and policing that requires cameras on a daily basis, because criminals strike every day. So we're pleading with you that we came with General Mavunda here, sitting there. She's head of our technology team. She's there. That's her. Time. Fine. So that when we live here, people are very clear. So your head of technology, even if they don't follow us to the stadium, even if they sit here and they start talking, General Mavunda is there for that, to start meeting your person, so that they start how to turn those cameras from disaster, and they get literally brought under Mchunu and under the district commissioner of eThekwini, under General Mkwanas. We will be beginning to work when we do so, because we will be then able to use that infrastructure to trace criminals, and then looking at the gaps that are not covered by the cameras in terms of the number and capacity, and then we add on that. We want the whole of eThekwini district under camera, the whole of it, particularly the areas that are counted here. We have Umlazi, Kwamashu, Phoenix, and then we have Inanda, which are havens for criminals who are living amongst us here and so on. That is the infrastructure. But we want more infrastructure. They will know. We are at an advanced stage ourselves to say what infrastructure to support policing and so on, and to make police effective. We can't run the whole of Enanda chasing a criminal. We just want to go straight to the criminal via cameras. And what happened in Ruodeport is a very good example, Premier. A couple of days ago, 7 criminals went to a mall, attacked a jewelry shop, and people in the ops center who are operating cameras in that area, they then detected that a shop was being hit. They activated SAPS. They activated Metropolis in Johannesburg. And then they started talking to each other via radios, via phones, and they started converging there. As criminals went out of the mall, they were confronted by police, both from SAPS, both from and from the Metro and private companies, private security companies. All of them were armed. None of them were armed with stick suit. All these people were armed with high caliber firearms and small firearms, dogs, and even 2 helicopters. They landed there and there. And then they started taking their chances, because they like taking their chances. They started shooting. They were very fortunate. I don't know how. They escaped. No, not escaping. They escaped death, because they were looking at death at that time. They escaped death. They were arrested instead. 2 police were injured, but they are fine. But they were arrested, all 7 of them. They got arrested. They got arrested. And they are going to face the law. All 7. and we discovered all the firearms that they had at hand. All of those firearms, they are with police. Now, this is what we're talking about in practice. When a crime takes place somewhere, within minutes, General Mkwanas, within minutes, because we are going to be looking at this. You are going to be giving us a list of other resources that you may not have. eThekwini, as a metro, should be having not less than two helicopters, because these criminals, they want to take advantage of speed. You commit a crime and then you disappear. Now, within that period, we must be there. We must be both in front of them and at the back and on the side, so that they have nowhere where to hide, whether it's an informal settlement or whatever. So we're going to be working and augmenting all those resources, from the ones that we have to the ones that we don't have. We have to tighten up intelligence. You have to open lines to talk to each other. We have to bring in private security so that we tap on their data. What is it that they have? Join cameras, the city, and then South African police and private security companies. Impembe malibeyo dikhale kanye pe sekusuke indawo ethize, so all of us go there, so that criminals know they don't have space. Doesn't matter whether it's a private home or any other home. So this is the essence of what was being signed here. It's good that HOD were there. You were the only woman there. I'm not saying I don't trust men, but when you are there, at least you signify that this is serious. It is women are part of it, but National Commissioner, Provincial Commissioner, and all of you, we are leaving these things in your hands with those who signed. I just wanted to speak on essence of signing this, because other people take time to hear. They say, oh, they are signing, it's public relations. Premier was missing a minister, or minister was missing Premier and the mayor, and wanted to meet and pretend we are working. We really are working. And to the criminals out there, we are very close to you. Very, very, very close, if not yet there already. And I'm afraid after this, the heat is going to, we're going to increase the tempo against them. And there's no doubt about it, because it's happening elsewhere. I was delighted about New Brighton, Chair, when one criminal attacked 5 people, killing all of them. And then in turn, police went there and started shooting. And police are now -1, minus that criminal. And all of us, even in New Brighton, he will never commit any crime again on earth. If anywhere, it will be six feet underground. He can continue with criminality there and so on. So this is what we're saying in essence. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister of Police, Matsoho. Minister, you right on time. We have killed 2 birds with one stone. We dealt with the media briefing. I was requested that here the Minister and the Premier sit there so that we deal with the part. So this concludes the first session that we were here for. We are going to now move to the next session, which is the bigger part of the festive season and cooperation pledge signed by different departments. When we move from here, we are going to take only 2 questions, Director. When we take those questions, those that did not have the opportunity to grab and happen, we can do so, grab and move, so that when the leadership finish here, they find us waiting for them, not them waiting for us. So if we can just make sure that we move as soon as possible. The media is going to be briefed on the same issues that we
have ministers saying, and we will hear them later. So please let us move. What happened this morning that the leadership is sitting there, we are still walking in. It's not going to happen where we are moving. Thank you very much for your time and for allowing me this opportunity to be taking you through this first part of the day. Thank you and thank you.
And if you're silent, walk out.
We must walk out very, very quietly. When we leave here at the podium, we're going to have the minister, the premier. For the mayor, we have Deputy Mayor Councillor Mieni, the Deputy Ministers, the National Commissioner, DG Sibui, Provincial Commissioner, and